So let's move right into the IBM blockchain platform. Once you have identified your Kubernetes service that you're going to deploy to, you'll kick off your IBM blockchain platform. And you'll see when it first comes up this very screen, and it's a very nice little interactive screen that you can see all kinds of different pieces that our design team has developed to explain how this is kind of architected and laid out. It's a very nice little way to get started. Speaking of getting started, if you click on this Getting Started tab, you can again bring back up that same architecture to toggle around in and check out what's there. Or you could do some of the common tasks that we have here. So first and foremost, if you're just kicking the tires, you're trying to understand or beginning to build a network of itself, this is where you would go. This will bring you right out to the documentation, and also there's a link to some great videos that our documentation team put together. So if you learn by reading, you can just click on the link. If you learn by watching videos and being able to pause through other YouTube videos, click on here and watch Joe build out some network components and explain it further. I'm going to go through this again just in the next 5-10 minutes so that we can get some questions. But also joining the network. So somebody may already have a network and you just want to join that to be able to transact with them. You just click on here. Again, this will bring you out to the documentation and take you step by step through everything that you need to do to accomplish that. And then smart contracts. Now this is one of the key sets of features that is very interesting that I do want to touch on in this video, and that's our VS Code extension. So we have free download into the free VS Code Studio that you can use the IBM blockchain platform extension in order to connect to multiple fabric networks and work with chain code that you have. So I'll show that in just a few minutes. But first, let's kind of look over this awesome new UI that we have. You're going to see that we make it very distinct and separated in the different kinds of nodes that you have here. That's because another popular piece of feedback that we got was when I first sign up, I may not need an entire network right off. Even though you gave me the ordering service and certificates for free through our membership, we didn't really need it. So why deploy it and use the space? We agreed. It was extra cost on our part, so we went away from that. Now, deploy only what you want and pay for what you use. And that means if I have a peer, I can now just deploy a single peer, or I could deploy an entire organization, a couple of peers and a CA, and I can also just deploy an ordering service, or I can put them all out there together. And it's so easy to do at this point. For instance, if I wanted to deploy a certificate authority, I have the opportunity to create a brand new one or bring a different one in that I may have from somebody else. Just simply click, give it a name, walk through, do some credentials here. And when you get to this final page, you'll see the default allocations, and you can change these if you want, of what we will actually deploy onto the IKS instance that you described to us. And an interesting note, you'll see storage. Of course, when you're going through the IKS instance, you'll see that there is local storage that's available. However, if something happens and that gets wiped out, the worker nodes or the pod or the cluster itself, you lose everything. That is just not something that we can have in a blockchain environment. So on your behalf, we go out and we do that initial allocation of persistent storage volumes which are attached to your IKS cluster. Doesn't mean that we're going to pay for those. Those will come through on your bill, but we do that initial setup for you so you don't have to worry about that. But if you need more storage, feel free to change it here or go back later and change it as you move along. So once you're happy with this, and I'll note while I'm actually deploying this, I'll note you could see that the CAs, of course, are not a very highly intensive node per se in the network. So we don't give it a ton there. Again, start small and grow as you need. All right, so I went ahead, kicked this off. You can see nice little flashing box here. Means that it is in the background currently working to come up. It should just take a minute or two to bring that up. After I actually deploy this, what I would want to do is I want to either bring up some peers in an organization, or an ordering service, for instance. In order to do that, I need to actually create some MSPs. Actually, first and foremost, I need to create some identities. Ooh, look at that. Didn't plan on this, but it's always a nice benefit of a live demo. You can see that there is a patch available. So right here on the console itself, you can see there is a new version that's available. You can go into that and go out here and deploy the new patch that's available. Very cool thing to have at your fingertips at any point. I'm not going to worry about doing this right now, but you can see how easy that becomes. I do want to highlight when I'm going through. Now I have set this particular network up already, and I want to just highlight some of the interesting aspects. When you go in, you can see I have several different users identified here. And there's a couple that are identified as clients, and there's one here that's identified as a peer. Now, the difference is this is the administrator for my organization that would be creating additional users or credentials inside the organization itself. And this is the actual peer. One interesting note is when you go into your ordering service as well, actually let me just do this. I can create a special ID here. And you can see the two drop downs again, client and peer. And if I go into a peer, this is the actual, think about this as actually the node itself as you're creating it. And you can just simply register this. It will show up in here. When you're in the ordering service, as I was going down this path a minute ago, when you're in the ordering service and you want to deploy register a user for that ordering service, those peer ordering service nodes are also peers. So they're while we've traditionally called them ordering service nodes, you still need to create the identity as a peer and assign that to that particular ordering service. Okay. So with that said, after that, then you would create your different MSPs, and this is what I was talking about at the top of the hour of where we actually want to get away from having any access at any point to your keys. And the way that we do that is you generate your own keys right here. So if I said I wanted to create a new MSP, and just make this whatever, you'll see I click on the root CA, I pick which certificate authority I'm actually going to use. In this case, I'm going to use my organizational. And you can see right here, immediately, it's generating your certificates that you need. I'll use my, as I mentioned, this is my admin ID. Put in his password. Name this Mark's ABID. And when I generate this, you'll also get a quick little note here that says, all right, you've been successfully generated, export this. This is very important to do. Anytime that you are creating these, you want to export the JSON files and download those, because this is all stored in your browser cache. So if you update your browser, if you lose your cache, if you clear it or whatever, you need these JSON files to bring back in, otherwise they're gone. So bear that in mind, a definite piece to remember. All right, so with that, I know I'm already over time, so I apologize, Porter, but I am going to show one other thing, which is the VS Code extension. So let me switch over here and go to the VS Code. I was warned I should have practiced with this, and I did not take the practice route. Alright, okay, so what I'm going to do is, VS Code is actually not showing, so I am going to unfortunately skip the VS Code extension piece of this. The one thing I did want to note was that with VS Code extension, and we will do a separate tutorial on this, possibly even in the next session, and you can create multiple gateways. It's the best way to start development. With this extension, you can import the IBM blockchain platform piece, where you can create a smart contract which will automatically propagate all of the files and everything you need to create your first little program or application with the chain code or smart contracts. We have plenty of tutorials. You can build your smart contract package, and you can connect to a local instance which comes with the download of the extension, or you can connect, say, to this IBM blockchain platform itself or any other Hyperledger fabric and run transactions directly against that. Okay, so we're down to just about 10 minutes left. Again, I apologize that I could not bring the VS Code extension over to show you specifically. Let me show you one thing that I can do here is if you go into your nodes or into your channels, you can also see the explorer of specific transactions as you're running them. So for instance, you can see that I did a retrieve on one of the values here. I can see the information, and just for giggles, I will prove out again. If I go into my channel, you can see that I have 7 blocks, and if you believe me, what I am currently doing is I am on my VS Code studio right now, and I'm going to submit a quick transaction to show you, and I will call this 5, and I will say hi Porter, send this off, and it says it's successfully completed. Go in here, it should increase in block size, and you can see it is now at 8. And if I go into the transactions themselves, you'll see this is what I just typed in there, hi Porter. So you have a good little piece that you can verify.